Noyjeetut here, doing a little vlog. But I'd start off with some tweets. I've had a multitude of great tweets lately, so I'm going to just read three of my best right off the bat. If you're not following me on Twitter, you're missing out on pure genius. And you're doing yourself a disservice. Alright? First, I enjoyed M&Ms much more when they weren't so sexualized. It is true. So true. M&Ms are so sexy now. I blame that chocolate M&M. She is a dominatrix, succubus, bitch. And I loathe her. She took a children's candy and made it into a cesspool of candy shells and chocolate melting everywhere but your mouth. Sick bitch. Another one. It's kind of dated now, but go ahead and say it. Dwight Howard should be honored to be raped by Kobe. Not run away from it. Don't deny peanut head loving. Hashtag NBA. Hashtag rapist. Rapist. Kobe Bryant. So, Dwight Howard, it was his turn to be fucked by Kobe Bryant. He should have stayed and took it like a man. So eventually, Kobe Bryant fucks everybody. And I got one more. Right after the verdict, felt much better about that verdict now that it has come out that Trayvon was the dealer that got Corey Monteith hooked. Gold. Pure gold. It's a joke. It's a kind of a classless joke, but it's my joke, and I'm sticking with it. I did want to talk a little bit about that. Not that I have any kind of insight that's going to help anybody understand something on a deeper level. More or less, I just wanted to say there is a moral to the story, the whole incident together. And it's about pretending you're things that you aren't. I feel that Trayvon wanted to come off as a bit of a thug, not answer questions, be a bit of a thug, be someone he wasn't. He was a boy trying to act tougher than he really was. Zimmerman was a neighborhood watchman who took it way too seriously. He thought he was a cop. He thought he was more than what he really was, and he took it too far, in my opinion. And it cost someone their life. I don't know what happened that day. I wasn't there. But it's scary when people play cowboy and Indians for real. Take it to the next level, and someone ends up dead just because you think you're something you aren't. It's really a fucked up situation altogether. And the only one that really knows, only really two people know what truly went down, and one of them is dead, so we may never know the true story. But it's important to be who you are and not try to buffer yourself in life with things that you aren't, and go around and impose those things on other people. Those are just my thoughts on anything that I've just gotten from the whole story and all the hysteria and the whole thing. It's fucked up, but it can be a lesson learned. That's all I'm going to say. The story of a boy and a man really just relates to a fake cop and wannabe thug. In lighter news, Stacy Keibler escaped George Clooney and his torture rape cave. Congratulations. I've been crushing on Stacy Keibler since the WCW days, and that's the early 2000s for you non-wrestling fans. I love me some Stacy Keibler. And I was a little hurt when she started her relationship with George Clooney. And I'm glad she's out of it. And I want all women out there who've had a relationship with George Clooney or who have lusted after George Clooney to a obscene amount, just because he's kind of like the smoky older man now, and people like that look, that gray old fox look. Go watch some George Clooney from the late 80s. He was on Roseanne, and he was on The Facts of Life in the late 80s. On Roseanne, he got turned down multiple times by Jackie, Roseanne's sex-crazed sister. Multiple times. He was treated like a punk. And there's actually a special episode of The Facts of Life. I want you to look it up. He's not turned down by Tootie, who I think was the most pretty girl on The Facts of Life. He wasn't turned down by Blair. He wasn't turned down by Joe. He was turned down by Natalie. There's an episode where he just pretty much begs Natalie, the fat one, from The Facts of Life, just plop down on his face. And she denies him. And I want everyone to take that into account. That's a man who was denied by Natalie. Natalie from Facts of Life. The value you put on George Clooney is totally up to you. But no, there was a image he had in the late 80s of total disdain. And women hated him. You should hate him too. So, to Stacy Keibler, I'm still available. We're about the same height. I'll get on my tiptoes if you wear them high heels. It's on like Donkey Kong. Call me. I guess that segues well into this bit I was going to talk about wrestling. In the wrestling world, they tried something new. They tried to have a stable of fighters who were that of redneck caliber. The Wyatt family. Now, I just saw the debut, and I really liked it. They've been really pushing this thing for months now, building it up, and it's a really creepy family, you know, rocking chairs and kind of really horror movie-like effects. It's like The Hills Have Eyes kind of feel to it. Who are these guys? The mystique was there and everything. And sadly, some fans ruined it all because one of the wrestlers involved, the key wrestler, was a man who they dubbed, and they actually ran with this gimmick called Husky Harris, where he was a husky man named Harris. And that was actually all the input they put on a character for a while. And he jobbed his way to nowhere. And they repackaged him as the Wyatt family. And the Wyatt family, I don't know his name, Bray Wyatt. It's a pretty cool name. He has full beard, long hair. Maybe I should be in the Wyatt family. And he went out there and he did a nice beatdown segment of Kane, the wrestler. I won't say fighter. Kane. And it was a good segment, but then the fans started chanting Husky Harris and kind of ruined what could have been a beautiful start of something that's unique and new. We were going into the redneck stage of scary redneck out of, years of having goofy rednecks like the Godwins. We were actually getting like a scary redneck stable up, and it kind of already fallen flat just because the fans remember that they ruined that fighter or wrestler with the name of Husky Harris. To that, I'm disgusted. It could have been something great. It still could be, I don't know. Fans are vindictive little assholes sometimes. And you complain about stuff and not having new fighters in the top, and then they do something that's kind of innovative and new, and you shit all over it. So, what do you expect? Thought I'd go out on a brighter segment. You should check it out on Nerdist.com. Alton Brown, famous chef. I'd say more like food experimenter. Someone who experiments with food has a podcast, and it's really good. I like it. It's fun. It's really segmented well. He has people call in, and he has a guest. He has people call in, and he just talks about news headlines of food. It's almost like you expect it to be like a show on TV. It's well done. Everything looks great. Check it out if you can. And the good part is it's not all just stuff you would see on TV too. You actually get to see some of Alton's personality. He actually, like, if there's like I think he did a movie the reference to Star Trek that you never see him do on a Food Network, where he just starts. He was talking to a caller, and they left some kind of verbal softball high, and he just screams and jumps out and says "con." He screams "con" to the top of his lungs, and you'll never see that kind of personality on any kind of Food Network. He'll keep it straight, but it's good that Alton Brown is able to be himself a little bit more in that format of podcasting. So check him out. He's definitely one of a kind. So yeah, a lot of people like Alton Brown, and this will just make you like him even more if you already do. And if you don't know who he is, check him out. He's just a fun guy to listen to, and he actually has a little bit more of his personality injected into his podcast. So yeah. That's all I really want to talk about. How should I sign out? Goodbye, my ugly mullet, George Clooney's. Beautiful. Natalie wanting to plop her fat ass on his funky looking head. That's how I always remember George Clooney. I don't think he even had a shot with Mrs. Garrison on that show. Oh, girls! That's my old Mrs. Garrison impression. Swallowed the wrong way, trying to talk. Oh, girls! Oh, Mrs. Garrison. What I would have paid to be taken into your freckled bosom kissed all over like a small child.